Hey, good afternoon. I'm about to embark on this big lamp that's on my Facebook page, and I wanted to show you the very earliest stages of trying to figure one of these things out. And this is a book I have. This book is out of print, and I saw one of these books one time on eBay for $500. I doubt that might have just been a kind of a fluke, but I think they're quite expensive because they've been out of print for a long time. In this book are actual color plates of the original Tiffany's, and in particular the one we're working on now. I apologize for this light shining or reflecting off this book. Anyway, let me kick it back here a little bit so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay, and I'm going to show you something real interesting about these lamps. People that build these lamps know this stuff already, but here's the nomenclature. Here's some of the information about this lamp when it was made. This particular one was made in 1906, and it sold for $400. They're 18 inches in diameter. So unless you've seen one of these, you really don't have an appreciation for actually how big they are. That's a long way across there, 18 inches. They're actually quite heavy, about 15 inches tall from here to here. And then this base is quite heavy. And I've been able to get the base. The base is going to be made for me. The top of this lamp up here is what we call the crown. I'm going to have that made for me. And then the branches and stuff, I'll explain to you when we get that far along how I'm going to make those branches. And the main thing I'm looking at here is the color. Now, this particular Tiffany wisteria lamp is blue themed, obviously. There were some that were long strands of blue along with white. There are some, there were several hundred of these made back in the day. Some were made this purpley lavender with white. I'm not sure where we're going to go with this one. Boy, I could really make this look good because the variegation in these colors is so strong. However, I do have some interesting blues. This sheet here is lighter, so we could work there. You can't really see this one so much. Let me lift this up just a little bit. It's getting a little dangerous here. There we are with some darker. All right, and you cannot buy this glass anymore. This is all what we call, from a company called Ouroboros, and this is Ouroboros. This is Bullseye, which is a company still in business. So there's an interesting blue there with these two other blues. So I've got areas of this sheet that I can work some of the lighter colored blue in, then some medium blue, and then this darker blue, if we decide to go that way. Or this way, rather. Any or a combination of this blue. And this is a Sotheby's. Whoop, you can see that right. Let me go back here. Come on. I'm trying to get it to go back small. There it is. Okay, this is the Sotheby's website, and this is an actual Tiffany that was auctioned at Sotheby's. I've seen these things go for nearly $3 million, $2 to $3 million, the originals. So there's another color theme that's a little bit different than this color theme. Now, I'm looking for a picture of the lavender white one, and it won't be that hard to find. They're around. But I'm just looking right now, trying to decide, do I want to go toward the blue or do I want to go toward the lavender? I've got a lot of that lavender glass, and in fact, I'm very fortunate because this Ouroboros hasn't been made in years, and I've got 3 sheets of that stuff. That one there, it's on my table to the left there, and then these two here, which of course can't see, don't have any light behind them. Anyway, I have these. These are gorgeous pieces of glass. I'm trying to think if I was going to build this lamp for myself, which one of these I would want to go for. Boy, that lavender white could sure be beautiful. And of course, here's the blue too. Anyway, what I wanted to get to and show you, which is very interesting, the design. Only people that mess with these lamps or know a lot about them or build them would know this. But these design, and this particular lamp, the design repeats itself 5 times. And how do we know that? Well, I know it because I built one. But see this limb right here, or this branch right here, and see that right there? There it is again, right there. The same exact one. So, if you will, if you start, now I'm going to get this where you can see it. There's the other one. If you start right here and just make that, the line, come right across here to there. So we're right back to where we started. We would, or if you, I'm getting confused myself. If you go back that way, you'll get another section. But that's one whole section from there to there. There, I've got it right now. From this side of the, let's get the camera here, this side of the branch all the way down to the back side of the branch. That's one section. Now the lamp has 2,000 pieces of glass in it, so that would mean that there are about 400 pieces of glass in this section. So if you start to really look at that lamp and you're not overwhelmed with how many pieces there are, you're really just interested in this section. And you can see the color variation here. And over here, let me blow this up a little bit here. There you go. All right, now that's a real good way to look this thing over. And we can pick out here a section, because right there, see that branch again coming down, comes over to here. So that's just one section of this lamp. Now this is a little bit different color theme, a little bit different blue, and there's certainly some difference in the background here. And I'll show you what that is right now. See the background behind these clusters of flowers? Right there. Okay, what they've done there, or Tiffany has done, is use a glass like this in the background. Now, I've got some of this. I'm going to have to dig and find some more. I've got some more in my pile here somewhere. This stuff hasn't been made in years, and that's some gorgeous background glass. I've used that in several really key projects. So that would go nicely in the background of this. It would actually work in the background of this somewhat. I'm not sure. I know it'd look good in the background of this. Not so sure about there. And what they've done here in the production of these two original Tiffany's is here, they have only used it down in the lower sections here, and we call it confetti. This particular glass, it has some what we call fractured streamers in it. But see those long lines? Let's put them over here where you can see them better. This is the back side, and those long black lines there are just really thin little strips of hot glass that they laid down on a table, and then sprinkled this real thin little shards of glass, and then roll this clear sheet, not clear, or this opalescent sheet over the top of that. And when they did that, this was 2,400 degrees, so it just melted and picked those pieces right up. So fractured, if it didn't have those long strips in it, it would be confetti. Here it is, fractured streamers, so it's got the confetti and the thin strings of glass. So anyway, back to where we are here. You're only seeing that fractured glass here in the bottom of this lamp, and they've done that probably on every section. Or don't forget, this is just one section. And the darker, you can see the darker colors down toward the bottom. Here, they've gotten a little bit different here. They've put the fractured glass all further up and in other places. Here, back up in here. So a different lamp. I don't know exactly how many of these they built. I just read a whole story about these. Now, there are people that know a lot about Tiffany history, a lot more than I do, and they'd probably be able to tell you. This was a real big seller, I know that. It was very popular back in the day. But you can see that right in here, boy, that's just bordering on not even being confetti, but another opalescent or glass that's not transparent that they've used in the background here. A little bit of blue in it. This is an interesting color scheme they have here. And they did stay with these yellow leaves. Here they've done the same thing. A little bit of green up in here, yellow. So the real key here, I like this lighter blue up in here. So I've got a lot of work to do to figure out exactly what to do about this color situation. And I'm really, in my mind, only worried about or looking at one section here. If I get that figured out, I have the whole lamp figured out. Lots of small pieces. Somebody said to me on Facebook today, that this was a suicide lamp, and it's difficult, but I think this thing right here was. I apologize again for that lamp being filthy, but that lamp was 1,875 pieces, and I don't know what was in my head when I was doing that, but I really liked it the whole way. So I'm so old now, and I guarantee this is going to be my last monster lamp, that I'm just really looking forward to getting after it. I'm going to sculpt my branches up in the top here the way they've done. And did I talk about, I think I did, the crown. This is, back in the day when I first started building these, you bought this crown in 5 pieces, and then you soldered that crown together because there were, of course, 5 repeats or 5 sections of this lamp. Today, and for the past, I don't know, probably 30 years or so, close to 30, you can buy this crown or have it. I'm having to have it made. Back a few years ago, you could actually buy it. But they make that in 1 piece now. Of course, it's going to be sculpted and cast in 1 piece. Anyway, and that just will set on top of this form that this thing is going to be built on. So I'm looking forward to rounding off. I know for a fact that I can get the crown and I can get the base, and I think right now the jury's still out that I can get the mold and the pattern. I saw this mold in a store, a glass shop, and I believe it was this wisteria not too awful long ago, maybe a year ago I saw it. I don't think there's that many people wanting to jump on this lamp and build it. So I may have to go back to where I saw this thing and buy it, and then I can make my own pattern. I'll lay tracing paper over the mold and trace off and make my own pattern if I have to. I'd rather not do that, but I'm motivated to make this lamp. So anyway, isn't that pretty up in the top of this thing along here where they've... there's the crown itself. Now the crown is open on top of it, and I did a trumpet creeper lamp here some years ago, and I sold it about 18 months ago, and it had this same configuration on the top of it. This one's going to be a little bit different than that one, but the crown more or less the same size. These are big lamps. You can't tell from... I wish there was a Coke can or something sitting here so you could see how big these are. These are big lamps. They're heavy. Anyway, there it is. And I'm telling you, unless you've cut much glass, there's just no way you can have an appreciation for how difficult it is to... There's some oddball shapes here in all this stuff, and these pieces of glass are small. Man, some of them, I don't know, I don't see anything there ridiculous, but I mean, there's plenty of work, and bear in mind that all those have to fit next to each other. This is a jigsaw puzzle that you build on your own. So I'm pretty excited about this thing. And the people that are building the base for me and the crown are superb sculptor, artist, foundry guys. And so I know that'll be, that the work they do is perfect. So I'm going to use all the skills I have to make this the prettiest lamp I've ever made. Boy, what a beautiful lamp. There it is again. Well, anyway, I don't have too much more to add to this. Right now, I'm just picking out glass. I'm hoping to get the mold and the pattern in the next 3 or 4 weeks. Boy, I'd like to get it today, but I think that's the mold and pattern are special order on top of that. And I'm not sure of the lead time. I understood last week that the lead time was 3 weeks, but that's still subject to change. I hope it's not 3 months, because I'm in kind of in the mood to just crank this thing up. It's cold as you can imagine. In Minnesota, it's cold here. Wind blowing about 30 miles an hour today, and it was 17 degrees. Just ridiculous. It snowed ice stuff last night, so it's ugly here, and it's a beautiful time of year to be doing this kind of work, because here you are. I'm still working on my my little what is this thing? My little Celtic tree, and I'm working on some strange... I've never done this before on one of these, but I'm doing some glass painting here, and I've left these open. My my glass teacher, D. Carter Ray, my friend D. Carter Ray, is teaching me how to do this work, this particular work. Ooh, man, check this out. I did all that black with a brush. I don't know which brush I used. Anyway, that was I learned a lot there. Boy, I think I'm pretty proud of that. I mean, that's the first time out I've done this kind of stuff. Anyway, this has already been fired, this pale green, and I'm planning on coming back, and there's some paint that I've mixed up here, and I'm planning on coming back and adding a little bit of blue into here, and I'm waiting on my instructor to tell me exactly how she wants to do that. I imagine I'll be talking to her tomorrow or the next day, something like that. Anyway, this has already been painted and fired, and all of this has been painted and fired. And then we're going to go around this. Oh boy, it's hidden under here. Anyway, there's a real dark, well, not dark, emerald green piece of glass that's going to go around this perimeter. So if this blue that I'm working with right here, and here's a test firing, it's much lighter on the left than it is on the right. I'm going to fire that and see how that comes out. Here's some practice work I was doing. Let me find this is interesting to me, maybe to nobody else. Is this it? Give me a second here. I think it was here. I don't know. I lost the track of which brush I was using to do those. Maybe it was here. I think it was here. Yeah, well, there it is. Okay. Anyway, when you get the brush wet, it, of course, gets a little more pointy tip on it. But I'm here to tell you that wasn't easy. But I got those little lines in there, and they've all been fired, the little Celtic symbols. So I think that's pretty cool. I'm real proud of that. Wow. Boy, if you'd have told me that was going to look that good a week ago, I'd have said, no, wait. Those things look like they were done by a machine. Man, isn't that interesting? Well, now, the real glass painters will look at this and just laugh. Because, oh, man, I found some lady on Facebook here yesterday. Oh, I'd be embarrassed to show her anything I've done. Now, they're in another whole world. But anyway, I'm learning, and I'm going to put the blue in this. Then we'll put the green around here, and it's going to be a real pretty piece, I think, once I get done with it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I'll finish it up and look at it and see what I think. Anyway, we're about done here. But I wanted to, this is the earliest stage of trying to figure out what you're going to do with one of these things. Let me show you this right here real quick, and I'll get out of here. Look at there. That's the, now, this lamp looks a lot better if I clean it, wash it, clean it up. But there it is in its splendor. And that's called a bird skeleton base. And man, is that a good looking base. And I had a chance to buy one of those about 2 years ago for, I think, like $1,400, which is a bargain for that base. And, you know, I don't know, my brain wasn't exactly in gear or something, and I let it go. And now, oh, that base is every bit of, I'd say $3,250, $3,500. So that's what's happened to this stuff. The price of these reproductions that some of us are building, these raw materials, the base we have to have, the crown, the price is just out of sight. And I'm thinking that there's no young people working on building lamps like this or acquiring the skill to build one of these. And I believe these, this is just my opinion, I won't be around for it, but these replications or these lamps, that reproductions that we're building now with the finest materials, this handmade glass, and we're using the best bases and crowns and materials that we can, and then we're, you know, using the best skills that we have to build these. I think these over the next 10, 15, 20, 25 years are going to be hard to come by, because there's just, I shouldn't say no, but there are very few younger people that want to dive into this stuff. Some maybe, I don't know. But most everybody that fools with this stuff is on up in years. And I don't wonder if I'm the oldest one messing around with this stuff. I don't think so, but I hate to use that word, a dying craft. I don't think it's dying, because there are younger people involved in stained glass, but lamps and pieces like this, I I don't know. I just don't think there are very many young people messing with this stuff. And that's certainly no indictment against younger people, but the learning curve on one of these things and putting one of these together and then making the lamp, the glass cutting and the soldering and the skill commensurate with the quality of the base and the materials, you know, you've got to really kind of know what you're doing and put some really serious effort into this. Then I'll say this, and I say this on my Facebook page all the time. This is not about money. And my friend, the lamp maker, I visit with him on Facebook quite a bit, Scott Riggs, and he sells he does a lot more lamps than I do, and he's just, oh man, that guy's so good. But anyway, he and I have talked about this, and you couldn't do this for money. Although you get paid to do it, money would not motivate you to a place that you set with one of these for hundreds of hours and just grind these things out one little tiny piece at a time. Because there's just no way you could, money just won't motivate you to do that. It's a dedication, a commitment, and love of this work. That's what it's all about. Anyway, and if you look at people that, and I'm not talking about myself because I think I'm what I would call an advanced apprentice, but there are those people on Facebook and that have more or less mastered this craft. I don't think I'll live long enough to do that. And they're all about the same thing. It's the love of the work, the commitment to the craft itself. And we, those of us that do this, absolutely stand on the shoulders of, this is a Clara Driscoll lamp. Clara Driscoll was a designer for Tiffany, and she had 35 women work for her, and they're the ones that build these lamps. We stand on the shoulders of Clara Driscoll and the Tiffany girls when we come back and try to reproduce something this gorgeous that required that much work. Well, anyway, enough of that. I appreciate your interest, and everybody seems to be interested in this lamp, and I am too. Isn't that a gorgeous thing? Woo! I sure hope. Well, I'll make a decision on the colors and what I think I can do with this thing, and I'm certainly going to put my best effort into it, every minute of the whole thing. And when you're as old, I'm gonna be 74 here in a couple of weeks, and the thing about something like this is that if you spend as much time as I have to try to learn how to do this stuff, it's just an absolute thrill to be this old and to be healthy enough to take off on something and put the hundreds of hours in it that it's going to take to get this thing done. And I must say, before I shut this thing off, that I'm indebted to my client for having enough confidence in me to put everything together and to fund this project. So hats off to him. Anyway, thank you guys. Be sure and ask questions if you have any comments about this lamp. And man, people asked me some really good questions about this stuff. I wish if somebody asked me something yesterday that was very interesting. Anyway, I answer all of them. You can't be any more excited about this than I am. There was a saying one time I heard, I'm as high as a Georgia pine, and that's a fact. This is some terrific stuff. If you're old like I am, and every now and then you get to feeling your age, this stuff will make you young or younger. Anyway, bye-bye, everybody. Thank you so much.